On Senator Manny Villar's standing in the surveys may be improving, but the C5 road extension controversy continues to hound him. The Senate is divided over this issue and has yet to vote on whether to censure Villar.
Villar, of course, has been denying he had used his position for the project and that he profited from it. Tonight, Professor Winnie Monsod analyzes whether the allegations are baseless or not, that the project is indeed a road to hell paved with good intentions.
What are the specific charges against Senator Manny Villar? Based on Senate Report 780, stripped of all the legalese, the charges are that he used his position and influence to cause a government roadway, the so-called C5 road extension project, to be built, and that the road was unnecessary, financially disadvantageous to the government, and would actually yield him enormous financial benefits. It was unnecessary because there was already an existing project, the so-called MCTEP, or Manila Cavite Toll Expressway project, which was a BOT, or Build, Operate, and Transfer project to be built by private contractors. It was financially disadvantageous to the government because the Villar proposed project would be longer, it would be built entirely by the government on government funds, and it would result in tremendous financial benefit for Villar because first it would pass right through his property so that the government would have to pay him road right-of-way amounts, while at the same time the value of those properties would be considerably enhanced. What exacerbates the situation is that the government, per the documentary evidence, paid much more for the right-of-way for the Villar properties than the other properties, and that Villar allegedly used his position as senator, in particular as Senate Finance Chairman and then as Senate President, to make insertions that would ensure that his properties would be paid for right away. What is Villar's defense? Based on Philippine Senate Resolution 1472, filed by mostly Villar allies, they said that the Committee of the Whole, meaning the Senate, had no jurisdiction over the case, that it adopted rules that were inapplicable, that it did not even publish those final rules, that there was an inadequate quorum requirement, and most important, that Manny Villar was being singled out. What does it then find? 1472 finds that, 1, there was no such thing as double insertions and that those insertions were actually regular amendments. 2, that there is no realignment of the C5 road extension project, much less one authored or done at the behest of Senator Villar to secure its passing through the real estate properties. Why? Because they said there are 2 separate alignments. One is that C5 road extension project, which is a public road, and the other is the MCTEP, which is a toll expressway project, which, if completed, would require the payment of toll for its use. And 3, that there was no overpricing because the right-of-way payments were based on properly certified zonal valuations, that all requirements were complied with, and that there was no participation by Villar or his staff in the acquisition of the properties. What can we make of these conflicting opinions? A picture is worth 1,000 words. So here is a map prepared by GMANews.tv to show what the case is all about. You see here the original C5 extension project called the Manila Cavite Toll Expressway project, which connects SX with the coastal road. The idea was that this would be a build, operate, transfer project, with the private partner bearing the costs of the construction of the expressway, which of course it would get back by charging tolls. The government exposure would be limited to 2.5 billion pesos, which will be used to obtain the road right-of-way. Now then, here is the new project. We have superimposed the burnt orange line representing the new project, again, connecting SLEX to the coastal road, except now it is very much longer and hits the coastal road farther along. Here are the Villar properties. on the basis of the map. It is clear, one, that indeed there are two alignments, MCTEP and the C5 extension project. But it is also clear that one of them was unnecessary. Why? It has to be the Burnt Orange project because the other project had already been approved earlier. It is also clear that the C5 extension project is going to be more costly because it is longer, and secondly, it was built wholly with government funds. And third, because what the government spent on the road right-of-way for the old project will now go to waste. Why will it go to waste? Well, really, can you imagine the joint venture partner building this project when there is this road parallel to it, almost beside it, sometimes overlapping it? Who will want to pay toll when there is a free road right next to it? Okay? And finally, it is very clear that the greater length of the C5 extension project enables it to pass through all the Villar Company properties, Golden Haven, Adelpha, Camellia, Azalea. There remains the issue of the overprice of the Villar property. Based on the documentary evidence that was presented in Senate Report 780, there were 22 properties that had to be bought to get a right-of-way for the C5 extension project. The average price paid for the non-Villar properties was 2,422 pesos per square meter. The average price paid for Villar properties was 11,519 pesos per square meter for mostly raw land. So now, I think we have sufficient basis, free of the posturing and the screaming, to make our own decisions. Just remember, no issue is either too big or too small to affect you. Be informed. Ask questions. Together, let's find the answers. Email us. I'm Winnie Monsod on Q.